Right, good morning again, class. Let's continue with the discussion. We are still in the circulatory system, and we are actually talking about tissue fluid or tissue fluids, lymph, and lymph vessels. So these are the important component also of our blood, simply because it is actually the one who will screen out or fight against foreign bodies or foreign invaders. We do know that we are actually surrounded by different organisms, including bacteria and viruses. Okay. As of the moment, we are still in the pandemic. Okay. We are still fighting COVID-19. But then again, because of the vaccine, because of the technology, because we're heading towards Science Month, because of the vaccine, because of the technology that we have, we tend to what? We tend to create immunity out of it. This is how we actually create immunity, right? As blood passes through capillaries, let me put it down. As blood passes through capillaries, water and dissolved substances like oxygen, amino acids, simple sugars, your glucose in your blood, and others filter through capillary walls, forming what is known as tissue fluid. Okay? Blood proteins and most blood cells remain in the blood and do not pass through the capillary walls. Right? The tissue fluid is the direct contact. It is actually the direct contact of the cell simply because it is actually carrying all of this. The oxygen, the minerals, the vitamins, the amino acids, the glucose, right? So it is actually the one directly connected to the cells. This is how we nourish ourselves, right? Since the concentration of oxygen and other needle materials in tissue fluid is greater than that inside the cell, what will happen next? These substances diffuse into the cell. This is called pre-diffusion, osmosis or osmoregularity, or shall we say from greater concentration to lesser concentration. The example I had given to you last meeting is when you put egg in a salt water, what will happen to the egg? What will happen to the egg? When you put egg in a salt water, huh? What will happen to the egg? When you put the egg in a salt water or salty water or concentrated salt solution, it's the term. What will happen to the egg? It will blur. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Blur. All right. Again, when you put the egg in a salt solution, though we have a lot of salt in the environment of the egg, what will happen to the egg? It will become salty, of course, because from greater concentration that we have outside the egg, it will actually go inside the egg because it doesn't contain any salt. So this is how your itlog na maalat created. They're exposing the egg in a salty environment. So the movement now of solute or the movement of salt is from greater concentration, which is outside the egg, to the lesser concentration, which is inside the egg, until it reaches what? It reaches equilibrium or equal concentration of the environment, the solution in the environment, and the solution inside the egg. That is actually free diffusion under osmoregularity. Right? Similarly, waste materials including carbon dioxide diffuse out of the cell into the tissue fluid, then into the blood where the concentration is least. Again, from greater concentration, please take note of this, put this in your mind, that naturally, it should always be from greater concentration to lesser concentration. Okay? Like when you actually create a hole in your pail of water, okay, the water will continuously go out unless it reaches equilibrium or equal concentration from the outside and inside of the pail. Okay? So things happen to tissue fluids. Some of it enters the capillaries. Okay? Some of it enters a system of vessels called lymph. So you have lymph vessels or lymph nodes. Inside these vessels is the fluid known lymph. Okay, right? The very fine lymph vessels are comparable to capillaries. Are you familiar with lymph? In Visaya, it is lisay. That's your lymph. Yes. So, what have you observed? Okay, when you have lisay, how often that these come out? How often have you observed that these lymph nodes come out? Or shall we say, irritated? How often? Good morning, ma'am. Right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. How often? If you have, number one, infection. If you have infection, then it will actually what? It will actually appear. It will actually irritated or bulge. Why? Because it is actually fighting the infection or the foreign body entering your system. If you have wounds, if you have what else? If you have injuries, okay, in that certain area, it will what? It will appear. But we have all lymph nodes actually under lymphatic system. Okay, the larger lymph vessels in turn lead to the larger ducts, the right lymphatic duct, and which receives the lymph from the head and the right arm, the right lymphatic duct, and the left lymphatic duct or thoracic duct, because it is actually located at the thoracic cavity, which receives lymph from the other parts of the body. Okay? The two lymphatic ducts are joined to the large vein in the region of the shoulders below the neck. Shoulders below the neck. Okay? They actually collide or they are interconnected. The ducts empty the lymph into the bloodstream at this region where lymph becomes part of the blood again. From there, blood, okay, which has received the lymph enters the right atrium of the heart because it is actually now contain waste material. Okay, located along the lymph vessels are enlargements called the lymph nodes. Okay, in the lymph nodes, foreign materials like bacteria are removed because, again, it is the way how we fight against bacteria or foreign bodies. Okay? White blood cells in these nodes engulf bacteria. Okay? It engulf, when you say engulf, it actually what? Surrounds or eat. Okay? You can actually see and feel lymph nodes near the skin where they become swollen due to the infection, again, because it is fighting against the foreign body or bacteria. Do you have any question, girl? Girl, are you still with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you have questions, please ask questions, right? For the Kulani and local dialect, okay? In our dialect, it is Lisay. Okay? How do parts of the circulatory system work together? Okay, we have coordinated systems. Okay, we have two systems involved or two circulations involved in circulatory system. Okay, by the way, during exhibit, we will also discuss this one. Okay, with the other students. Right, the coordinated transport of useful materials to where they are needed and metabolic waste products to where the body can get rid of them explains how the parts of the circulatory system work together. Okay, so we have two functions at the same time. Number one is removal of wastes or waste materials. Okay, number two is circulation of oxygen and nutrients to all parts of the body. That's why we have two coordinated circulations happening in the circulatory system. Right? The expression transport system, circulatory system, and the cardiovascular systems all report to the same thing. Okay? Again, these are just terminologies. This is what I am telling you. You need not to memorize all of them, all of these. All you have to do is to familiarize. If you're familiar with this, the book is useless for you. Why? Because you know already the concept. Okay? Right. The flow of blood through the heart and blood vessels. In humans, okay, blood circulates through the pathways. We have two pathways actually. The pulmonary circulation, okay, the two circulations in the circulatory system, the pulmonary circulation and the systemic circulation. Okay, let's tackle pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. General flow of blood. Blood from all parts of the body enters the heart by the way of blood vessels, which open into the right atrium. So, when the wall of the right atrium contracts, blood gets or goes into the right ventricle. When the wall of the right ventricle contracts, blood rushes to the lungs. Okay, let's make it very simple. Okay, don't worry, I will give you illustrations, okay, to have a concrete idea on the blood flow, and it is really easy. Okay, this topic is actually from grade 6. This is actually from grade 6, and this is the continuation of your grade 6. Okay, because we are spiraling. With the lessons I am spiraling. So meaning to say, with the continuation of the lesson will be in the next grade level. So this is now the continuation. Okay. Blood from the lungs returns to the heart by entering the left atrium. So when the wall of the left atrium contracts, blood goes to the left ventricle. Okay. When the wall of the left ventricle contracts, blood rushes to all parts of the body. Blood flows in this direction and not backward because of the presence of clots or muscles or valves. We have valves which allow blood flow in the direction in one direction only. So let's take a look at this one. The pulmonary circulation. What is really happening in the pulmonary circulation? Okay, this is the flow of blood from the heart. Since it is pulmonary circulation, the blood here is carbaminohemoglobin or carrying or blood carrying carbon dioxide. Okay, RV stands for right ventricle. Okay, this is the flow of blood from the right ventricle to the capillaries of the lungs back to the heart through left atrium. Okay, so if the blood returns to the heart to the left atrium, meaning to say that the blood now is oxyhemoglobin or carrying or blood carrying oxygen or oxygenated blood. So they actually mean the same. The right ventricle pumps blood to the lungs, passing to the pulmonary arteries. As blood reaches the capillaries of the lungs, oxygen diffuses into blood while excess carbon dioxide leaves the bloodstream. The oxygenated blood returns to the heart by the way of pulmonary veins. This is the only vein that carries oxygenated blood. The rest of the veins are carrying carbaminohemoglobin or carbon dioxide containing blood. Don't worry. Do not be confused. I will let you see the pattern. Systemic circulation. This is the pathway of blood from heart, which is from left ventricle to the capillaries of the body organs, back to the heart, to the right atrium. Okay? Since it is from left ventricle, therefore the blood here is carrying oxygen or oxyhemoglobin or oxygen carrying blood. Okay? The largest chamber of the heart, the left ventricle. Why is this considered as the largest chamber of the heart? Simply because, again, the reason is there. It pumps blood to all parts of the body. It should be as strong as possible to pump blood into all parts of the body. Otherwise, it will not reach into your organs. Okay, the blood cannot reach into your organ if it is not, it doesn't have a force or enough force to pump it into your organs, okay, or all parts of your body. The blood leaves left ventricle by the way of the largest vessel in the body or the largest artery in the body called aorta. Aorta, they actually mean the same. That's the largest artery in the body. Why? Again, because aorta carrying or aorta is the passage of oxygenated blood going to all parts of the body. It should be large. Okay? Don't worry, I will let you see the actual aorta during your dissection. Okay? As blood reaches the capillaries in different organs of the body, oxygen, food, and other substances diffuse out of the blood and into the tissues. At the same time, waste materials from cells diffuse into bloodstream. The blood returns to the heart by the way of veins. Okay. These veins are called what? These are superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. I will let you see later. Okay. This is the blood circulation or circulatory system. It is happening again simultaneously. We have pulmonary circulation here. This is the pulmonary circulation. Okay. And this is the systemic circulation. Okay. Let's take a look at this one. I will let you see the actual illustration. All right. The blood from the lower part of your body, okay, will enter inferior vena cava, IVC, lower part of the body, inferior vena cava. Okay, the blood from the upper part of your body will actually. Do you know the spelling, or I should write it over? Inferior vena cava. Okay. Again, the blood from the lower part of your body will actually enter in the inferior vena cava. Inferior meaning lower, and the blood from the upper part of your body will actually enter in the superior vena cava or vena cavae, both entering the heart at the right atrium. Are you following, Blair? Blair?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please take down notes. Are you taking down notes?
Yes.
Let me have this one. Again, the blood from your lower part of your body, legs, okay, will actually enter the inferior vena cava, okay, this one. And the blood from your upper part of your body will actually enter in the superior vena cava. Take note, it is blue. Why? Because it is blood containing carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide. Both entering the heart at the right atrium. From the right atrium, blood will pass through a valve to prevent backflow. What valve? We have tricuspid valve. Okay? It will pass through a valve called tricuspid valve. It is in between this one. Okay? And going to after tricuspid valve we have right ventricle. Okay? Right ventricle. From right ventricle, blood will pump to or going to the lungs. This is your pulmonary circulation. But it will pass through this valve. That valve is called pulmonary valve. Okay? To pulmonary artery. After pulmonary artery, why do we need to have a valve? By the way, what is the essence of having a valve? Levine? What is the essence of having a valve? Everybody? This is to prevent, again, backflow. Okay? This is to prevent backflow. Right? So we have tricuspid valve. This is in between right atrium and right ventricle. It is considered as a semi. It is considered as, because it is between right atrium and right ventricle, it is called atrium ventricular valve. Atrioventricular valve. Pulmonary valve is considered as, because it is between right atrium and pulmonary artery, it is called a semi-lunar valve. Semi or semi-lunar. Lunar or luna, it looks like a moon. Our moon is called Luna. Okay? Earth's moon is called Luna. It looks like a moon, actually. So your pulmonary artery. From the pulmonary artery, okay, blood will go all through. Blood will go directly to your lungs for the exchange or the actual exchange of gases. Okay? From the lungs, blood will actually go back or return to the heart through what? Through what? Pulmonary veins. Correct. Correct. This is the only vein that carries oxygen or oxygenated blood. Here, as you can see, okay, in this area here, from superior and inferior vena cava going to the lungs, okay, it is actually carbaminohemoglobin. Whiter. Take note that the actual exchange of gases are happening or is actually happening in the lungs. So it is actually carrying, or the blood there is carrying carbon dioxide in exchange to oxygen. Now your blood returns to the heart of pulmonary veins, which is now oxygenated blood or carrying oxygenated blood. From the pulmonary veins, okay, blood will continuously go to left atrium. Okay, sir, what do you mean by atrium? Okay, atrium is an area where it actually receives blood. In SM, it is an area where you can actually stay. The north atrium. When you say atrium or atria, it's an area where you actually receive something or a place to stay. Okay? So now, from the pulmonary veins, blood goes directly to the left atrium. Okay? From the left atrium, blood will pass through another valve. It is called bicuspid valve or mitral valve. Okay? It is another, because it is between left atrium and left ventricle, it is another atrioventricular valve. Okay, again, from the left atrium, blood will pass through a valve in order for us to prevent possible blood flow, backflow of the blood. Okay, it will pass through a valve called a bicuspid valve or mitral valve, going to your left ventricle. From the left ventricle, blood will be pumped. Okay, blood will be pumped to from the left ventricle. Okay, blood will be pumped to your another semilunar valve called aortic valve. Okay, this is another semi-lunar valve. Okay, again, we need valves in order for us to prevent flow. Okay, from the left ventricle, blood is pumped to the aorta, but it needs to pass first the aortic valve. Aorta. Okay, after passing the aortic, blood will go now to aorta. This is the largest artery in the body, and it branches into all parts of the body. Okay, from the aorta, blood, this one, from this, blood will actually branches to all parts of the body containing oxygenated blood. From all parts of the body, blood will return to the heart to superior and inferior vena cava, going to your right atrium. And the cycle repeats again. Okay. So in this area here, from pulmonary veins, from the lungs going to the pulmonary veins, okay, the blood here is called oxyhemoglobin. Because the blood there is carrying oxygen. Okay? So the entire circle here, this entire group here, okay, going to the lungs, is actually what? This is actually pulmonary circulation. While from the lungs here, going to pulmonary veins, this one, okay, the entire circle here, okay, is called systemic circulation. Have you seen the difference? Okay, let's have this example. Okay, let's go back again. This is how we discuss, okay, blood tracing or backflow. By the way, in your activity, okay, I'll be giving you numbers. I will be giving you numbers, and all you have to do is to arrange the numbers based on the sequence. I already given the sequence. Okay, this is how you discuss blood tracing. The blood from the lower part of your body will pass through inferior vena cava, and the blood from the upper part of your body, this one will pass through superior vena cava, both entering the heart at the right atrium. From the right atrium, blood will pass through a valve called tricuspid valve. Okay, this is to prevent possible backflow. From the tricuspid valve, blood will pass through the right ventricle. In the right ventricle, blood will be pumped to the pulmonary artery, but it will pass through pulmonary valve, going to your pulmonary artery, to the lungs. Okay? This is your systemic, this is your pulmonary circulation. Okay? The actual exchange of gases happening in the lungs from carbon dioxide to oxygen. From the lungs, the blood will return to the heart with oxygenated blood to the to pulmonary veins. Okay? That is the passage of oxygenated blood from the lungs going to your left atrium. From your left atrium, it will pass again another valve. It is called bicuspid valve or mitral valve. Okay? It is another atrioventricular valve. And it will pass through, the blood will pass through the left ventricle. Okay? From the left ventricle, blood is pumped to aorta. But it will pass to or pass through aortic valve going to the aorta. This one. The aorta is the largest artery in the body. And it branches into all parts of the body. From all parts of the body, okay, the blood returns to the heart, to inferior and superior vena cava, go into the right atrium. And the cycle repeats again and again. This is your pulmonary circulation, and this is your systemic circulation. Was that easy? This is supposed to be a lesson in grade 6. I learned this one when I was still in grade 6. Anyway, it's okay. Take your time. Okay. Again, I didn't memorize all of those. I did just familiarize. Okay, talking about atrioventricular valve. Was it stated in your book? I don't know. But again, this is based on what I had remembered when I was still in grade 6. Okay, do not be confused. Again, we're going to look at the pattern. If it is pulmonary circulation, it should carry carbaminohemoglobin. But if it is systemic circulation, it should carry oxygenated blood or oxyhemoglobin. Do you have any questions so far? All right. Let's continue. Blur, how about you, Blur? Do you have any question? Blur?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's continue by next meeting because I think you have information overload already. Again, familiarize. That is just easy. Okay. We have patterns. I already given you the patterns. Okay. Usually, I actually incorporated this with set of letters. So, inferior vena cava is IVC. Superior vena cava is SVC. Okay. Right atrium is RA. Tricuspid valve is TV. Tricuspid valve. Okay. RV is right ventricle. Okay. Pulmonary valve is PV. Pulmonary artery is PA. In order for us to memorize it easily. Okay. Lungs. From the lungs, it will return to the heart through PV. Pulmonary veins to LA or left atrium. Bicuspid valve is VV or MV. Mitral valve or bicuspid valve. Okay. Next is LV or left ventricle. Okay. Aortic valve is AV. Aortic valve is AV. Then aorta. At all parts of the body. Is that easy? I think. Okay, let's continue by next meeting hopefully. Okay. Because I think we have already discuss the systemic and the pulmonary circulation. Okay, familiarize all of those. All right, please stand for prayer. Okay, Jason. Forgive those who sin against us. Do not bring us to test to feed us. And bring us to Father and Son. Thank you. Goodbye, class. All right, please take your seat and wait for your other teachers.